and a lot of people.
You are divided! You are divided!
I can see just on top of the steps straight ahead, there's a few gentlemen with binoculars looking to the crowd.
We are here!
We are here!
Because we want change!
We want change!
This will not be tolerated!
This will not be tolerated!
You come out!
You come out!
You talk to us!
You talk to us!
Do not hide from us!
Do not hide from us!
We know who you are!
We know who you are!
The world is watching!
The world is watching!
The world is
I do not.
watching!
The world is watching!
You will no longer!
You will no longer
Control us!
control us
By our media!
by our media!
You will no longer!
You will no longer
Control us!
control us!
We are! My people!
people!
United!
United!
The time has come!
The time has come!
We want change!
We want change!
We want change!
We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change!
Mark check! Right now!
Right now!
They are debating!
They are debating
To cut $900 million!
to cut $900 million
From public services!
from public services,
Which we have paid into!
which we have paid into.
Let me ask you a question!
Let me ask you a question.
Is that fair?
Is that fair?
Yes or no?
No.
No. Jobs, not cuts! Jobs, not cuts! Jobs, not cuts!
Jobs, not cuts. 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 Jobs, not cuts.
Hey man, we hold the flag up there.
We came
To speak to
our Congress,
our Congress!
but we don't
But we don't
seem to be able
to
to get them
get them
to come out.
to come out!
The only ones
The only ones
who have given us
who have given us
an audience
an audience
are the cops.
on the fucking police!
So maybe
So maybe
we should have a message
we should have a message
for them.
for them!
Let's tell the cops
Let's tell them!
get a conscience,
Get a conscience!
quit your job, get a different job,
Get a different job!
stop defending
Suffer like the rest of us!
1%.
The 1%!
You're part of
You're part of
the 99%.
the 99%!
We're really trying really hard to sympathize with you, but we can't if you keep defending the 1%.
Mike check!
Start doing art.
Yeah!
Nobody likes what I say.
I propose that we have the Congress as our real representative. The only thing they represent is the power behind the marble. That's a better idea than what we're doing now. Can you explain to us why you are here?
The people's house.
This is the people's house. This is the people's house. This is the people's house. This is the people's house. This is the people's house. This is the people's house. This is the people's house. This is the people's house. This is the people's house. This building was built by the backs of our people. We have every right to be in that building. Our taxes. Pay to maintain that building. We pay you to be
Ivory tower.
Ivory tower.
Ivory tower.
Ivory tower. We pay you. We pay your medical.
We pay you. We pay your medical.
This will not be tolerated.
This will not be tolerated.
Our house! The people's house! The people's house!
What's your name, buddy? Where do you come from? Connecticut? Right on, man. Right on, man. I swear to God, I thought I went to high school with that guy. What up?
Hi.
How you doing?
How's it going?
All right. What up? Just folks up at the wall yelling at Congress.
I was over there when the guy was taking down the fence, and I saw you roll up.
Yeah. Just folks over there yelling at Congress. Hopefully we'll get this GA started at noon, like everybody says it's going to go down.
Awesome.
Right on.
Great. Nice to see you out here again.
Good to see you too.
You got your little medic pack.
Yeah, it's in my pocket here, for sure.
Found it.
For sure.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Sarah.
Sarah, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
All right.
See my. You get the message that you're
Was it earlier and I have restarted it?
It was way earlier.
Yeah, way earlier. Was it earlier and I have restarted it?
It was way earlier.
Was it earlier and I have restarted it?
As soon as I did it, we're all always like, the guy with the eye patch.
The guy with the eye patch, yes. The one that looks like a pirate, yes. Yes, awesome.
Right on, guys. I'm going to keep walking around here. I'm going to start talking to people here.
That doesn't surprise me. You'll see their best.
All right. How you doing? All right. So folks are still filing in at the bottom down here. Again, we are right in front of the Capitol building. This sign is hilarious.
I think
How you doing?
Good.
What's your name?
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, where are you from?
Right on, man.
I'm from Oakland. How you doing?
All
I'm
right,
Spencer,
good to meet
man.
you.
Nice to meet you as well. So what's the main
I
purpose?
lived 7 years in Oakland.
Right on, right on. What's the main thing that brought you out here today?
Well, I've been trying to support the Occupy movement, see myself as a part of it, since it started, and I was happy to see an event called by Occupy DC against Congress because I think they've sold us out. And I'm here to express my disdain and contempt. I'm not here to beg or ask them for anything but to threaten them. Because I think the only way anything's going to change is the people come out into the street and engage in civil disobedience, nonviolent direct action, and force them to change.
And what would you like to see happen as a result of this movement?
Oh, 101 different things.
If you had to pick one.
Get corporations out of politics.
Okay. So mainly their money, essentially.
Yeah, their money.
Right on, right on, buddy.
Nationalize the Fed. Take back control of our money supply. All money is issued in the form of debt now, even though U.S. government has to borrow money from the Fed, which is a private corporation. Stockholders are Wall Street banks, and then they have to tax the people to pay the interest back on the money that they borrow from these banks. That's not right. We're no longer sovereign if we don't have control of our money supply. That's another one. Universal health care, single payer.
Right on.
I mean, 1,000,001 different.
So how long are you out here for?
I'm going back Thursday.
You're going back Thursday, right on. So what's today?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay. So you won't be here for Occupy the Federal Courts, but...
No, but I'm going to be in San Francisco.
You're shutting down the financial district?
Yes.
Right on. Well, enjoy that time.
Thank you.
How you doing, buddy?
All right, how are you?
All right, where are you from?
I'm from Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah, Georgia. And so how did you guys link up?
We're old friends from college.
Oh,
yeah.
right on, right on. So what brought you out here today?
What brought me out here? Well, I mean, it's just obvious. We haven't been getting a fair shake, and Congress and everyone in Washington is in the pockets of the big corporations and banks, and the policies that they're passing have nothing to do with the people's welfare. The welfare of 99%. So,
what would you like to see accomplished by this movement?
I would like to see, a national healthcare system, single-payer healthcare system. Like my friend Manny said, nationalize the Fed, because, like you said, all our money is created by loaning money, and then we get taxed for the interest. It's just I'm not as articulate as my friend.
That's okay. That's okay. So when are you going back to Savannah?
Thursday.
Right on. So enjoy your time out here today. Thanks for talking with us. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Right on. Hang on a sec, guys. How you doing, buddy?
Going?
Where are you from?
New York.
Right on. What brings you out here today?
Oh, a whole bunch of things.
Go ahead.
Give me a second to catch my breath. It's been a long morning.
That's all right. What's your name?
My name is Aaron Bornstein.
Right on.
Brooklyn.
Okay.
Neuroscientist.
I was just staying in Brooklyn the other day. I was in New York this weekend covering MLK events and whatnot.
Where in Brooklyn were you?
I couldn't. It was somewhere south of the Atlantic Station there. But I
live right next to Atlantic Station on the northeast side.
Okay. Yeah. Right on. So you came down from New York. I mean, if you had to pick like a driving reason that brought you out here today, what would you say it was?
So there are a few. I think most saliently is the fact that when I talk to people, some of whom are on the fence about Occupy, some of whom may agree with the ideals, that structural inequality is really a serious, pernicious problem, maybe the core problem in our country today. I hear a lot that the complaint is that we're focusing on the wrong people when we're up at occupying Wall Street. And there's some legitimacy to that argument, right? So for a number of people, occupying Wall Street is the fight. It's the message that they really wanted to hear. For a number of people, they say, well, you guys should be focusing on Congress, and those people they have a good point. They're somewhat right, in that there is a corruptive sort of collaboration between the two of them, and I don't think it's a fault of individual people. Mostly, there are some bad people, but there are a lot of very good people who are trying to do good, but they're in a system that necessitates constant fundraising. 85% of elections were won by the candidate that had the most money. Candidates who are in competitive districts have to spend about 34% of their time raising funds. Candidates in publicly funded elections only spend about 6% of their time working with fundraising. So that's a big difference. And so we're here because, honestly, this is where a lot of people are looking. And I think that when we come here and we start talking about the corruption in Congress, it reaches a different segment of the population. I don't think it's any more or less right than talking about corruption on Wall Street. I think it's a different side of the same coin, and I think it's one that will reach a different segment of people and bring them on board with the Occupy message and with the Occupy movement. We're very much in the movement building phase. I like to compare this to the Justice and Reconciliation rides in the early Justice and Freedom rides, in the early late 1940s, which were an early civil rights action that were sort of presaged the Freedom Riders, and a lot of people met during those actions, and they went on to sort of develop the civil rights movement over the course of the next 15, 20 years. I think we're very much at that stage.
You think it's going to take 15 or 20 years?
Absolutely.
So you see this as a long arcing struggle.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
And this is why I think when people started saying, what are your demands? How are you going to engage with politicians? I think we're very much at the stage where, in the civil rights movement, for instance, it wasn't decided that separate is not equal was even going to be a rallying cry. And very early on, people were saying, and this is perhaps the path of least resistance, that persons of color should just create separate, strong institutions of their own. And that, honestly, that was probably something that most of the country agreed on. Racists would agree on that, certainly. But eventually they decided on something that was a little bit harder and, honestly, in retrospect, more morally right. And so we're still very much in the principle defining and movement building stage of things, and it's going to be years. It's going to be years.
So that being said, when you look out, over that process in your own mind, and you try to see where it might go, what would you like to see? I mean, I always ask everybody, what is the one issue you feel like we can accomplish as a movement? Whether that be corporate money out of politics, whether that be like a national health.
I'm going to see how close I can get running off the clear network. See, the fences are all torn down over here for the most part.
Point, the system was already broken. I think everybody agrees that. Number two, we need strong regulators. So this sort of cynical capitalist, fundamentalist ideological capitalism. I happen to be a fan of capitalism, but there's sort of a revisionist version of capitalism that's been pushed the last 30 years, which is sort of parallel to how the evangelical movement has really corrupted religion. So there's a cynical capitalist, revisionist capitalist view of things, which is that you need to be able to allow people who regulate the oil industry to go and take jobs with that oil industry 2 years afterwards, get paid $500,000 a year, because, you have to have the incentive structure in place to attract the best people. And what I say to that is, we don't hire prosecutors because they have a good chance to be criminals, right? That's just ridiculous. No, we hire people who have a passion for enforcing and creating fair laws and fair regulations, and that's exactly what we need to do in regulatory industries. We can't necessarily, in the regulatory agencies, we can't necessarily pay them $500,000 a year. Maybe we can, I don't know. I had lunch with the senator's daughter the other day, who actually told me that, yes, we actually could pay regulators $500,000 a year if we cut money from other parts of the government. Whatever we do, we just need to lower the gap a little bit. And how do we pay for that? The third thing we need to do is we need to make people pay for their privilege. I think Elizabeth Warren says this better than anyone. You don't get rich on your own in this country. It's amazing and it's wonderful and it's good that people get rich and that they pursue their dreams and that they pursue entrepreneurial pursuits. I used to be an entrepreneur myself, started 3 businesses, I created over 100 jobs. But when you get to that level of success, you pay for the infrastructure that got you there. You pay it forward. You pay it so that more people can create more businesses and create more customers for your businesses. It makes perfect sense. Adam Smith himself, in the founding text of capitalism, Wealth of Nations, said the rich should pay a higher proportion of their income than is the proportion that they make of the global income, of the national income. It just makes sense. It's never been against capitalism to say that rich should pay more taxes than everyone else. Then this extends to not having a different tax rate for dividends or capital gains, which is just ridiculous, and extends to everything: federal income taxes, sales taxes, state taxes.
Right on.
So those are the 3 points, I think. Those don't do everything, but without those 3, we don't have a workable government that allows us to make the types of change that everyone else is looking for.
So right now across the country, there's this national crackdown. I come from Oakland myself. We had the crackdown on Zuccotti. Before that, we had the crackdown in Oakland. Okay, Liberty Plaza. You had the crackdown in Oakland. You had a crackdown in Portland. I mean, Los Angeles. The list goes on and on and on. I mean, there's still occupies going on, like here in D.C. and elsewhere around the country. But what do you feel like is? I mean, you said it's going to be a long arcing process. What do you feel like is step 2? Step 1 was maybe getting together, building these camps, throwing these rallies. Now we're kind of trying to do this first national action here on the mall. What do you feel like is step 2? How do we move this process forward on that long march down the road?
So I like to tell people that Occupy is not the movement. Occupy is a moment within the movement.
Okay.
Like I was saying earlier, the rides early in the late 40s.
Interesting.
It's a time and a place where people come together and they talk. So what we do over here at the think tank is we hold these structured conversations where people talk about the issues that matter to them. And I think that's the most important thing we can be doing right now. And I think that process is honestly going to take another year or more of people getting together and figuring out, radicalizing themselves. And when I mean radicalizing, I mean sort of thinking big about what it means to change government in a positive way that creates a more representative and more fair democracy. We're still in that step, and we are in the process of thinking about what the next step is. Some of it is legislative, absolutely. Corporate personhood, I think, is an extremely important issue. There are something like 16 amendments proposed right now to end corporate personhood and regulate campaign finance, and they're all slightly different, but they all to concentrate that they're trying to go through Congress. That's not going to work. Congress is not going to regulate the funding that funds Congress.
So maybe it's provided in the Constitution that the people can vote on a constitutional amendment state by state, and then maybe form a national constitutional referendum like
Constitutional Convention, Article 5.
There we go.
So Larry Lessig is a professor at Harvard. He's been pushing this route, and he's starting a series of conferences at Harvard and other law schools talking about what that convention might look like, because we've never had one for, not since the original Bill of Rights, right, 240 years ago. He's starting that. We're having him down in New York on Friday for a rally to mark the 2-year anniversary of Citizens United, and we're going to have a conversation about what that convention will look like. And it's going to be an arduous process. It's going to be years before we get to the point where 34 state legislatures are calling for that Article 5 convention. And I think that the goal of Occupy, what Occupy can do, and maybe all we can do, is help continue to set the national conversation about inequality, about what happens, about what we need to do when we change the Constitution when that convention comes. And then simultaneously, the legislative angle, you have groups like Move to Amend and United Republic who are pushing the individual resolutions in each of the states. And I'm working with those groups as well. And I think in parallel, those two movements are going to be extremely important. And those are essentially the next steps.
Awesome. Hey, man, thanks for talking with us.
Yep.
Greatly appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. We have, can I put you on camera? Of course you can. How are you? It's good to see you.
I'm not incognito.
All right. We've got Tina Dupuy from Crooks and Liars here. So how are you feeling today?
Good. I love the person who told me to get rubber boots for this action.
Yeah, my tennis shoes pretty much ruined, but that's okay. That's okay. So what are your thoughts on initial reactions of the morning so far?
I got here about 5 minutes ago. I can tell you that every cab driver who's dropped me off at either McPherson or this protest has I'm not joking, said I go get them.
Right on.
So the cab drivers in DC are very pro-Occupy.
Cool. So what do you think? What do you think you're trying to accomplish by bringing this nationally together here?
Well, I mean, just what the critics have been saying. They've been saying that they shouldn't be occupying Wall Street, they should be occupying Congress, and that there's no national leadership and that they need demands. And so, I'm assuming that that's what they're going to try and hash out here.
So what have you guys been doing over at Crooks and Liars lately?
We've been covering, it's the silly season. We have two Republican debates in 1 week for South Carolina primary for an incredibly red state, an incredibly small red state. And there was a 2-hour debate last night on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and there's another one on Thursday. And
all the days to have a Republican debate.
And, this is our 253rd Republican debate.
That is a good idea. So here's the medical section. Hand warmers, bottles of water.
I'm not part of that working group, but you can go and talk to anybody with the red crosses.
So I guess people who are using
Tim here is the head medic over at I use that term loosely.
having problems with Verizon. All right. So they've double layered a little walkway here, and it is a bit more effective, though not entirely. Still worth it?
I wasn't there, so I couldn't tell.
It's just that full frame, rich color and everything.
Looks like someone's reciting the Outer Limits monologue in the chat. Alright. Let's check out the mobile command center. The Occupy party van. See people coming from all over.
That's a hard one too.
I know a lot of people didn't know exactly when the event would be starting. I see people coming from all over. Because I was one of them. And I was trying to find out, and it was difficult. I pledge allegiance to the earth.
Were you at the stream meet last night?
And a green and blue flag with the earth on it.
All right, so I'm Punk Boy NSF from San Francisco. And what's your stream? Can you give me your Twitter and your